Hi guys, it's Tammy with Pretty Presets, and I'm going to do a video on the sky overlays. And no, we can't do them in Lightroom. They are only in Photoshop, but now with Creative Cloud, so many of us have the option of both programs, and this is a great start if you've never used Photoshop or very limited in Photoshop. This is something that you can use it for and really create some cool stuff. So I'm going to go through kind of quickly because I have a couple different photos that I want to edit with different, some are heads, some are bushes, you know, people, a beach. So I want to show you all the different ways to do that and make it look natural. The point for me with the sky replace is to make it look natural and enhance the photo, not take it over and be super overdone looking. So I'm starting out here in Photoshop. It's a raw image, it hasn't been edited. Make sure that your horizon line is super straight. That's the first thing that's really important. And then you're going to hit Command E, and that is going to open it up in Photoshop for you automatically. And then when you're in here, this is where I'm going to use our Pretty Actions, which is our sister company to Pretty Presets, and they have this Blown Out Sky Magic Replace action, and that's what I use. So you're going to click on that, you're going to hit play, you're going to hit continue, and then it's going to bring up our vivid skies, which come with that action, and these skies all come together. For this landscape, the sky I'm going to use is number 14. I'm going to click on it, I'm going to put place. It's going to pull it up here for me. Now the way that this light is falling, I know that I need the sun to be way over here. If I put the sun over here, it's not believable because we wouldn't have shadows here. We would have the shadows over, we would have the light over here if the shadows are going that direction. So I'm going to hit Shift and hold it down while I pull this corner because that will keep my sky from stretching unevenly. That pulls it both to the right and left and up and down the same amount. So it keeps the ratio correctly. Correct, not correctly. Okay, I'm going to move this over here till the sun is where I want it. I barely want it past my lowest point here on the mountain. I'm going to click the check mark at the top of the screen. It's going to take a second. It's going to place it. It's going to pull our stuff up over here. The very first thing that I always do, you click on Cloud Overlay, and I'm going to turn the opacity down to 60%. And I know that makes it seem boring, but you're going to bring it back out in your edit, and it's going to match your photo really well. I'm not going to do blur your sky because this photo is very crisp. I am going to do sky fade, hazy sky, and lighter sky. And when you click this box, the little eyeball comes on. That means it turns on the effect, and you can click it to turn it off again. I'm going to here on Sky Fade. What that does is fades it from the horizon line up very naturally, and I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to duplicate it. It's going to do it again. It renames it copy for you, and see it just took it up a little bit further, more natural looking. Now I'm going to go here to my black perfect sky. I'm going to click on this black and white square. You can't be over here, you've got to be in this square. Then you're going to hit B. That's going to bring up your brush tool. And you're going to have white color selected here. If you need to switch it, you hit your little arrow and it switches it, but you want to be on white. Then here at the top, opacity 10%. And we're just going to do some soft, fast brushing here just to blend the skyline a little bit further. And up here in your clouds a tiny bit. Just whatever you think makes it look natural. And I think that's enough right there. So I am also going to come down in the pure color workflow. They have some sun glows that are movable that I really like, and a lot of times I add them with the sky replace because it really brings the two together. Okay, so let me find them here. Here we go. Warm Sun Glow, and I'm going to hit play, and then I'm going to hit OK. It's going to ask me just a few things. I'm going to hit OK on everything, and it's going to pop up this really cool sun. The same thing, Shift, pull it up smaller, and come place it over here where my sun was. And that's going to really throw some more light out here and make it look like this sky is really real. I am going to come to the opacity of that and turn it to 90. And then I'm going to hit my check mark. I'm going to hit continue. And I'm done with this. I'm going to send it, I'm going to flatten it first. That is important. You do want to flatten it. Hit OK. Then you're going to hit Command S. And it automatically sends it back to Lightroom for you, which is great because I like to do the rest of my editing in Lightroom. And I mean, you can edit it with anything. I mean, here I can use peony. That really brings out the cool color and everything, the warmth and everything. And the sky matches. All the coloring is the same. There's no weird line here at the bottom. The white line, the white haze, that halo you see a lot of times when people do a sky overlay, none of that is here. And you can, when you adjust your exposure, when you adjust anything, your sky adjusts along with it. So all of it looks natural together. I'm going to come here to my next one of our other pretties. Tina actually took this photo, and I love it because I knew I could match a sun up right here really well. So Command E is going to send it to Photoshop. Here we go. I'm going to come back up to the top here. And then I want my blown out sky magic replace. I'm going to hit play, hit continue. And I'm going to pick sky number 20 because this sun is going to go perfectly right there. Hit place. It's going to bring it up here for a second, drag it up here. Now I need this way over here. So I'm going to drag this up here so I have some room. Shift, pull this corner down as far as I can, pull it up here again and see if that's far enough. And I need to do it one more time. I really want to get that lined up with where those sun rays were coming across already. Over. There we go. I think that lines up really well. It's lined up with these, and we're going to hit the check mark. Then it's going to bring our info down over here again. It's telling us what the action is doing, the process that the action's taking. Everything's down over here now. First thing, cloud overlay, turn it down. And for me, for natural, 60 is the magic number. If you're wanting something super dramatic, that might be too much, but 99% of the time I turn it down to 60. I'm also going to hit sky fade, hazy sky, lighter sky. I am going to turn on blurrier sky, but I'm going to click on it, click on the words, go to the opacity, and I'm going to turn that down to about 10 because I really don't want a lot of blur because it's in pretty good focus, the whole photo is. I like the hazy, I like everything else, that looks really natural. I'm going to hit up here, the same thing, make sure you're in that black and white. You've got to be in that black and white part. You're going to hit B for your brush tool. Your opacity should still be at 10. Those things all kind of stay. If you don't change them, they stay. And just kind of brush the building a little bit, brush these poles a little bit, but just to make sure that it's really blended. But it is. That's all we need, just a little touch up with that. We're going to, once again, hit layer, flatten the image, hit OK. And then Command S is going to take us back into Lightroom. This was our original. It's going to pop up with the sky now. We could do something like Magnolia. It would be really pretty. Look at that. I mean, it looks like a beautiful sunrise or sunset. We could do white balance fix, just so that it's not overly warm. But that is lovely and natural, and that was so fast, and that sun matched up so perfect to where that sun actually was. So now I'm going to do this third photo. It's actually at the beach, and sometimes you would think that that would be easy because it's so straight, but it can actually be a little bit more difficult to blend. So Command E once again. Now when you're in Lightroom, make sure that's straight. Really take your time to get that just as dead on straight as you can. Okay, it's going to bring it up for us here. We're still on Magic Replace, so we just push play again, continue. It's doing the action for us there. I'm gonna hit sky number 4. I'm gonna hit place. And I know that that sky looks like it's really dark, but it's not going to when we're done. It's showing us the progress, and then it's gonna pop down over here. The thing I love about this action is there's not all the zooming in and out with, you know, all these tools and trying to get everything cut out and masked. That stuff is very difficult to me. It's a little bit more than I actually want to do. So this couldn't be any easier to me or any faster. I mean, I wish the computer would go a little faster running the 2 programs. But other than that, the action itself is really fast. It should be popping up here. It's giving us a little moment. There we go. Okay, and we're going to drag it up. And because it appears to me as the sun is coming from the side a little bit, I'm going to shift and drag. Make it a little bigger. Pull it back up here. Wait for it to appear again. There we go. Get it up to our line, which sometimes can be hard when you can't see through it. So sort of come above it and then come down. That's the best way. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to click our check mark. It's going to transform it, show us the process. It's going to bring it over here again. There we go. First things first, cloud overlay. Turn that opacity down. And I might even turn this one down to 50 because it is so sort of dark, you know. And I'm going to hit blur your sky because it is definitely, we have some blur. And I'm actually going to turn that up. So I click on the words, blur your sky. It's at 40. I'm going to put it at 60. I think that matches well with this backwater here. I'm going to turn on sky fade. I'm going to do it twice. So duplicate layer, I right click, duplicate layer, it calls it sky fade copy for you. Done. Lighter sky and hazy sky, I'm gonna hit them both. Now, I'm going to go up here to my black perfect sky, hit my B tool, my 10% is already selected because I haven't changed that, and I'm gonna just start sweeping on. And this is going to take longer than it did with the other photos because there's such a definite line. And I am making my brush bigger and smaller with my bracket keys. That's the fastest way. And it's different than Lightroom. So every time you click here in Photoshop, you get that 10% again. And in Lightroom, that's not the case either. So that's something that's a little bit different over here. And you do want to change your brush size around so that you're not, you're blending everything. And just keep sweeping. And I know it seems like it takes a long time, but you can do it really quickly. And just sweep, sweep, and then go a little bit smaller so you're just getting down here. And that's starting to blend really good. I like it. And sometimes if you need to, you just get up and walk away for a minute and come back. And you'll notice right away if you feel like it's right or not. You know, sometimes when you've been looking at an edit for too long, you're not even sure what you're looking at anymore. But with this, you'll notice what your eye is drawn to first should always be your people or your content of your photo, your subject. You don't want, unless it's only a picture of the sky, then of course you want the sky to be what they first see. But you want to look at the subject and you want all of this to be secondary. You want it to add to it. And say, oh wow, look at the picture of that girl's, and wow, I can't believe the sky too. You don't want it to be so overpowering that it overpowers the subject of your photo. So I'm happy with that. It's really blended in. There's no solid line. You can still see the sky. I am going to hit. I'm actually going to add. I think that'll look good. I'm going to slide back down here into the pure workflow again to my movable sun glow, warm sun glow, hit play. Hit OK. Hit OK. OK again. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, shift and pull up that corner. And I am going to come and place it right where we had that sun. Because I really want to show that it's shining on the water, it's shining here. And just resize for what is appropriate for what you're doing. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to hit the opacity and just turn it down to 90. And check mark will set it. You hit continue. I think that looks great. I'm going to hit layer, flatten the image, discard layers, the hidden layers, yes. And then Command S is going to take us back to Lightroom. Here's our original. And then here Photoshop is going to bring that sky back. And that is really pretty. I love that. I think that it looks great. Just to show you, I'm going to hit Magnolia, and that, I mean, the tones and everything look so great here. I love that edit. Or you can hit white balance fix, and it's going to take a little bit of the warmth out, a little bit more natural. But either way, all of these tones go together really well. All right, we're going to head on to the next one. This is actually a wedding that Amy, one of our other pretties, shot. And what I'm going to do here, it's already straight, plus there's not a real straight line back there, but to me it looks good, so I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to hit Command E, and it's going to take it into Photoshop. And with this one, it is a little bit different, and there is one more step that we're going to do here. With this stuff kind of poking up, it's not really adding to the photo. And it's going to just sort of be distracting once we add a sky. So we're just going to take it out really quickly. If you hit your eyedropper tool and choose the background color, then you're going to hit B. It's going to bring your brush back again. Up here at opacity, that's got to be at 100. And a smaller brush, nothing crazy. And you're just going to brush these away, and they're going to disappear. So just these parts that are sort of floating in midair, they're not really, they don't seem to be attached to anything. I'm going to clean this up around his neck just because it's sort of sticking out. And then I'm going to do this over here. And I'm not going to take it all the way to her hair. I'm just going to remove this that's sticking up and make it look a little more natural. There we go. That still looks like it's meant to be that way, okay? So that's the first step. When you're going to remove something from your background like that, you do it first. Do that as your first step before you put your sky on, okay? And then we are going to come back up here to where we were. To our blown out sky magic replace, hit play, continue. It's going to show us the progress here. Then we're going to get our window where we pick our sky. Here we go. I'm going to pick sky number 8. And I'm thinking I'll use this portion of it over here, not so much the dark area, but this left side of it. So you have to remember that when you see some of these and they seem a little overly dramatic, you have to remember that you don't have to use the entire sky. You can just pick part of it. So I want this sun over here. So I need to shift and pull that corner down. Probably do it twice. And then drag it over here. Yep, there we go. That's right where I want it. Make sure that your edge is pulled down to your lowest point that it needs to be at. Hit that check mark. It's going to place it. And then we will have to do a little bit of cleanup on his white shirt, but it's all very fast and easy. Nothing hard, nothing that takes a long time. It honestly takes longer for the computer to do its part than it takes for you to do your part. Our info is going to drop down over here on the right. And it is hard sometimes to have patience when both these programs are running. They're big programs and they take up a lot, and it just happens sometimes that they go a little bit slow. So it's starting here. There we go. First things first, we got to click on that cloud overlay and you got to turn that opacity down to 60. I mean, and you can experiment with that and see what works for you, but 60 is what works for me. I am going to blur this sky. This is definitely, I know that Amy likes to shoot open and you can really tell here. So we're going to want to click on the words blur your sky and we're going to turn it up probably to about 70% because it's really got to match. That is the number one thing. Your blur to your edges has got to match your backdrop, your background and of your actual photo. So we're going to leave it there. We are going to do sky fade, hazy sky, and lighter sky. This is obviously a bright photo. Lots of light. It's beautiful. We want it to remain looking that way. We just want to add a little bit of something to that blown out sky. So I'm happy with that. Once again, black perfect sky. You've got to click in there. You've got to hit your B for brush, using those bracketing tools to make it bigger or smaller. I'm going to leave it on 100 while I clean it off of them. And it's fast. It's only on her back. And on his shirt right here. That's nothing crazy. You might want to just go over his face just to be sure, but nothing else was white here. So that's off of them and everything's fine. So then we're going to take it down to 10%. Again, make your brush a little bigger and just barely go over this stuff and go over just right at the tip of his face just to make sure none of it's there. It's blended in really well over there. It totally looks good. Totally blended. If you want to lighten the dark part just so it's not too dark, that's blended. That looks perfect to me. So I'm going to hit layer, flatten it, hit OK, and once all this flattens, just takes a second. Okay, I'm going to hit Command S and it's going to send it back to Lightroom. And I know that Amy edited this particular wedding in Peacock. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like here. Hit Peacock. Beautiful. And I am going to set the exposure back because her exposure was fine. It didn't need that lift. But I mean, how perfect is that? It's dainty, it's in the backdrop, but it's beautiful. It really adds something to it. I mean, it went from that to that, and it really looks nice. So the next one I want to show you is what a lot of people struggle with. They think if there's going to be like trees or bushes that the sky is going to be really hard to go around, and it's really not. So I chose this one with this big huge tree. And once again, we are going to Command E is going to send it into Photoshop. Here we go, it's loading. And I'm going to go ahead and click on these and close them just because I don't want Photoshop to be any slower here when we're trying to do this video. I'm hoping it might help speed things up. There we go. I'm going to close those. Okay. Here, first, right off the bat, blown out magic sky replace, hit play, hit continue. It's going to bring up our dialog box where we can choose our sky, our vivid sky. I'm going to do sky number 3 because I really feel like these clouds sort of do the same thing that tree does. It looks very cool to me. I'm going to hit place. It's going to show us the progress of what the action is doing. And then it's going to bring it down back over here in our right panel. There we go. It's starting to bring it up. Come on, Photoshop. I know that when it's being slow like this, you just want to click your mouse 1,000 times and try and make it work, but I try and remain patient because that never helps, and it usually ends up causing more trouble. So I try not to do the crazy clicking when it's not cooperating. But I accidentally just turned that, and I just hit Command Z to undo what I had done when I accidentally turned it. Instead of scooting it up, I turned it a little bit. And I really want to get this placed just perfectly above this white fence. I don't want to go any higher than that because the sky really starts, but just above the fence looks good to me. And it's matching on both my sides. There we go. Hit that check mark. Now it's going to finish, the action is going to finish its process and bring the information down over here. Okay, first thing, like always, we're going to hit Cloud Overlay, the opacity, and turn it down. I am happy with 60%. There definitely is some blur to our trees, so we are going to hit blur. And I'm probably going to even turn it up a little bit. So I click on the words, blur your sky. I'm going to turn it up probably about 60. And this is always adjustable. If you did this and then you thought, wait, you know, I did that too much, you can take it back. And if you do it a little bit and then you're looking at it in the final and you're going, no, that's got to be blurred more, you just click back on there and adjust it again. So we're going to do the sky fade, the hazy sky, and the lighter sky. I'm going to click on sky fade here. Once it catches up with me, there you go. I'm going to right click, duplicate layer, hit OK. And it's going to just, there we go. See how it blended that out? Even better. Perfect. So I am going to come here to my Black Perfect Sky, and you guessed it, hit B for the brush tool. I'm at 10%, which I am going to change to 100. Move my brush down just to make sure it's not on teeth or skin or socks. Okay. Back to opacity, down to 10%. Make my brush bigger and just touch it up. Make sure that it's not on any of these buildings down here, but none of this is being super careful. You're just kind of, you do want these fence posts, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it up just to get it off of these fence post tops. Right there. Get those really quick. Perfect. And then turn it back to 10. And you've really got to remember, because this is different than Lightroom, being able to change the opacity, but once you get it into your mind, it's a great tool and you remember easily how to use it, and it works really well. So I just go through the tree a little bit, clicking around, smooth it out, make sure it's not on the house. And that looks good to me. So we are going to hit layer, flatten the image, hit OK. Once it flattens, we're going to hit Command S. It's going to take it back over here to Lightroom. So here's what we had before. And then here it's bringing up our edited version with the sky. And that's nice and soft, it's light. It looks really pretty. And I would probably use, I don't know, any of these would probably be good. But just to show you, I'll click on this one. It'll really bring everything out. It makes it all edit into the same tone. I really like the green that that has. And then you can adjust, you know, the shadows, if you want them lighter, darker, anything. You go on with your editing as you normally would. So let's click on to this one. And this can be really hard. Some people will not try this kind because it's got people and they think, no, I'm going to get that weird haze and that weird halo, but you really won't if you use our tool. So once again, I'm going to Command E it. It's going to send it into Photoshop. Give it a second. There we go. Blown out sky. Hit play. Hit continue. And I am going to pick sky. Number. Come on here. There we go. Number 24. Well, I thought I clicked 24, but I must click 23. There we go. And I'm going to hit place. If only the computer would work as fast as our pace would like to be, right? There we go. And it should bring it up here. There we go. It's starting to. Now with this one, I actually want the sun that was over here to be on this side. So I'm going to grab the left. I'm going to drag it all the way to the right, just a little bit past. Then I'm going to drag what used to be the left and pull it to the right. And that is going to swap the entire sky. And what I really am wanting is I want this sun to be right behind them. So I'm going to have to shift. Hold down that shift key and pull this out and stretch it till I get it where I want it. I'll probably have to do it twice. There we go. Yep, and see how when I look, that sun's right on his hat, so that's where I want it, down here. It's going to be right behind them. So I'm just going to line it up barely past our line down here, just as close as we can get to the actual horizon line. Going to hit that check mark. And yes, it is going to go on his white hat and his white shirt, which you are going to have to clean off. But it's not going to be difficult. You aren't going to have to go around her hair or his hair or anything like that. That will all go away here shortly. So we're going to hit Cloud Overlay. Always do that first so you really know what you're working with. So here we're going to take it down to 60. And then the blur. This is definitely blurred out. So we are going to turn up. It's not wanting to cooperate with me for a second. Come on. All right, we're gonna have to troubleshoot for a minute. What's wrong here? Why can't I click? Let me just give it a second to catch up. Maybe I'm just doing too many processes here at once. Because I should be able to change my opacity, which is why I know something's caught up here. It's not letting me click where I need to be. Okay, it got turned off. There's the problem. Okay, so what happened there, the reason that that wasn't showing is I accidentally clicked this twice. So I turned it on and then off again, and that's why it wasn't giving me this opacity. So if it's turned off, see how I can't do it? So there was just a quick troubleshooting thing that happens a lot, and you're going, wait, why won't it work? It wasn't turned on. So, okay, here I am, and now I can adjust it, and I'm going to turn it up to probably 70. We really want to blur it out because that background is definitely blurred. So we're going to leave it there. I am going to do sky fade, hazy sky, and lighter sky. And I don't always do all three, but when I want it to look natural, I do more often than not. I'm going to right click on sky fade. I'm going to duplicate that layer, hit OK. There we go. I'm not sure why it did that. I think I double clicked accidentally. Okay. Now we are going to go here to the black perfect sky and hit the brush tool, B, opacity at 10, And I'm gonna just lightly brush around them, very lightly, not a big deal, just a few. Then I am going to turn that up to 100 and make my brush smaller so that I can be sure that it's really cleaned off his hat and his shirt. And this is the only place you're gonna have to kind of go a little bit slower is if somebody is wearing white clothing. But that's also why I did this one, so you could really see that it is doable and it's doable fast. And that's it, it's completely off of him, completely off of her. If you want to turn it back down to 10 and just go one more time around them, but there, it's good, it's absolutely fine. We're gonna hit layer, we're gonna hit flatten image, we're gonna hit OK. And it is going to Command S, take it back to Lightroom. So here's our before. And then here right next to it, it's gonna pop up our sky. And I'm also gonna edit this with Peacock. I believe that's what Tina said she used, and white balance fix 1. And it's soft, it's subtle, but it just adds a little bit to the photo. And then I'm also, if you have water like this and you have warmth in your sky, you want to put a little bit of warmth on the water. So I'm going to hit gradual sunlight right here, which is in the graduated filter toolbox. And I'm just going to put it sort of in the corresponding area here. Like if you folded this picture in half, sort of put the warmth on the same place it would be down here on the bottom. And it's not a lot, it's just a little. It's just a subtle change. If you want to see more, just turn it up a little bit, or you can click on the pin, right click on it, and hit duplicate if you wanted to. But I think just one is enough for me. It's just a little bit of warmth where these clouds would be. Okay. Then here on to our last one, which also is something that seems like it can be really daunting because you have all these lines back here across the sky and you think, well, how is that going to work? But same thing, we're going to hit Command E. It's going to send it to Photoshop. It's going to open it up here for us. Perfect. Blown out Magic Sky Replace, hit play. Hit continue. Okay, brought it up here, hit number 16, because I like the way these clouds seem to sort of be going with the direction of the bridge. And this is also sort of a gray and cloudy day, and you want the sky, we wouldn't want to do something like a sunset. It wouldn't go with the mood of the rest of the photo because there's light on them from the front here, so I don't think the sun would be behind them. So you want to keep that in mind when you're picking your sky. You've got to pick believable. You've got to go with what could have naturally happened there at that location. Okay, I'm just going to pull it up here to the bottom of the bushes, same thing. And this is what I mean when I say in a lot of sky overlays, you see this line, and keep that in mind because this is going to go away, like very easily here. So we're going to select that as okay. It's going to transform it, put our info over here, hit that cloud overlay, turn it down. Perfect. Then that sky fade is what really gets rid of that line. And I'm going to right click, duplicate layer. Okay, it's going to do it again. Look at that, it's gone. Then we're going to hit hazy sky and lighter sky. And we're also definitely going to blur this sky. And I'm actually going to turn it up because it's definitely the focus is here on the sign and the back is definitely blurred out. So we're going to turn that up around the 60s, maybe even 65. I think I'm happy with that. And like always, black perfect sky, B for the brush tool, opacity 10%, using your keyboard bracketing keys. and just go over the bridge just to make sure none of these really white pieces of the bridge caught that sky. But I really don't think they did, but it's always good just to do a pass over them, right over the top of the bushes. But see how that line is gone? There's absolutely no haloing or anything. Okay, so we are going to layer, flatten the image, push OK. As soon as that flattens, we are going to Command S. It sends it back to Lightroom. Here was our before, and now it popped up the after. And I mean, you could really edit this with anything. It's going to be pretty. Peacock, there it is, because we love Peacock. And then white balance fix 1. Looks really good. And you can also, if you want to bring it out more just like you naturally would with a real sky, like you can turn down the highlights. I just used a graduated filter here with the highlights. And I can turn them down a little bit and see how it's going to bring the sky back out again. And if I turn them up. So you still have the ability to adjust it here in Lightroom and bring it out less or more to your liking in your editing. But it's always going to look natural because you're editing it with the entire photo. So I'm going to have this video over in the forum, and also what I'm going to do is if you're having trouble getting your skies to look natural, I want you to upload your photo in there, and I'm going to take a few of them and I'm going to make a video and I'm going to show you how to make it look natural on your photo. So if you're struggling with something, a certain photo, a certain something in your photo that you can't fix, you can't get right, you can't get it to look natural, upload it in that thread on the forum and let me fix it and show you how I did it. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you over in the forum.